Eastern Cape with more on the story. She's standing by now. Ati, good morning to you. Just perhaps describe the situation for us there right now.
All right, before we get into the situation, let's get reaction from some of the people that have gathered outside this church calling for the shutdown. You, sir, have been engaging with some of the people inside the church. What have they been saying to you guys?
As leaders of the various organizations which are here, we requested to engage with the church leadership to make a request to them to say that, one, we think they need to be sensitive to the situation, as responsible religious people, to say we are of the view that they must shut the church down up until the trial is concluded, to which they responded arrogantly and flatly said that they will not do that. They have a right to congregate. We said even though they have a right to congregate, but they need to apply their rights in a responsible manner, which is sensitive to the community which they are located within. To which they responded to that with arrogance. Then we engaged with the law enforcers to say to them, we posed a couple of questions to say they must establish for us what is the zoning of this particular premises. Is it zoned for a church? Is it zoned for a business? If it's zoned for business purposes, does this church have a certificate? Because the Metro Police are here, they can solicit the information for us. So on the basis of that, they've said we agreed on a deadline of 30 minutes. That was at 9:45. By 10:15, they are supposed to revert back to us and say, this then is the response to the questions which we posed, then we'll take a course of action from them. If the church or the premises which the church is located in are zoned for business purposes, then they must enact the law and remove the people who are inside the church and close it down. We also said that whilst the Metro Police are here, they must also give us the health and safety report of the premises itself, because we have it on good authority that there was an inspection here. So we are saying we want the content of that particular report. We want to know what is the zoning of the premises itself. Then the law can be enacted. So at 10:15, they said they will revert back to us as the leadership of the various formations which are here and leading this particular course of action today.
Thank you very much. I'm going to ask you guys to move out of shot so we can show our viewers what is happening behind you guys. You have various members of the EFF and the ANC standing outside the church premises. I don't know if my colleague is able to zoom in and show you what is happening behind the people. But I think another important element that needs to be shared with regards to this case is how it has been affecting some of the journalists that have been working on this case. And I have with me my colleague Sandy, who has been inside court covering the case and listening at Zondi sharing her testimony, her very harrowing testimony the past couple of days. Now, Sandy, how has it been for you as a journalist seeing, how Omotoso has received so much support?
Yes, it's been absolutely grueling, harrowing to listen to the testimony that we've been listening to for the past week or so. You must know that there are seasoned journalists who... It looks like there's a commotion, so I'm going to ask my colleague to get out of tripod. So if you can just bear with us, he's going to get out of tripod to come and show you what is happening right now. There's a standoff between the residents here who are supporting Zondi. They want this church shut down. Tensions are very high, as you can see. They want the church to be shut down. They want these men who are before them to move themselves out of the doors of the church so they can go in and ask the congregants to get out, because they do not want to see the church continue operating. So these are the scenes right now in Port Elizabeth. You have angry ANC supporters, EFF supporters, but in this case in particular, these are Zondi supporters saying they support the young girl. They support the fact that she is claimed and alleged that she was raped by Team Omotoso. Now they are engaged in a standoff with the police, who are out in their numbers as well, who have formed a human chain, just barricading them from being able to get into the church premises. So this is what you're seeing right now. Members of the EFF and the ANC saying they want the church premises
to be shut. However, you do have members of the church inside who are currently praying, and you understand that the church service is expected to start at around 10. Now, moving back to what we were sharing earlier on with my colleague Sandy, how it has impacted journalists whose lives have been threatened, by some people supporting Omotoso. Now, Sandy, how has it been, and how do you feel as a reporter being threatened about your safety?
Yes, it's been very grueling. It's been very traumatic covering this listening to the testimony in court. As you know, they're very seasoned journalists. Some who've even covered war zones, who are sitting in court crying during the testimony, listening to Cheryl's harrowing story. It's also been very traumatic for many journalists to cover the story. For me, for example, I've had people standing behind me, Omotoso supporters, saying that we're going to get you, we're going to kill you. And then I've had Omotoso supporters trying to break into my house at 3 o'clock in the morning. I heard a noise at my door, the dogs start barking. I went round to the front door, I opened the front door, and I said, hey, what's happening? What do you think you're doing? And I was told by the person at the door trying to break my lock that we're going to get you if you don't stop reporting on this story. My cameraman, Neba Nklanganiso, he has been followed by a car for over 40 minutes. He realized he was being followed, and he managed to lose the person who was following him. But it took him almost 40 minutes to do so. And it's very worrying for all of us journalists who have families and children living in our houses.
Now, you also mentioned that the whistleblower was also threatened several times. Talk to us about that.
Yes, now there's been a lot of intimidation around this case. Many of the eyewitnesses have been threatened. The public prosecutor has been threatened, and the whistleblower who blew the whistle on this entire story has also been threatened. Now she was at her house about 2 months ago when these men broke into her house and shot at her 3 times. Thank goodness they were a bad shot, because they missed her, but they missed her by inches. She has been so frightened and so scared that she had to move cities, and she's been living in another city under fear. The police have beefed up security around the court. They have beefed up security around the eyewitnesses. But there is such a feeling of fanaticism around this man that there is this craziness that these people are prepared to do what it takes to support him.
Sandy, our colleague, just explaining how it's been covering this case here in Port Elizabeth. Now I'm going to ask my colleague to come closer and show you that the number of supporters supporting Zondi have started arriving, and you have a whole lot of them right now. The number is increasing since early this morning. The number of Zondi supporters out here calling for the shutdown of those premises. Now, the leadership of the ANC and the EFF that is out here have been trying to engage with the church leadership, trying to find a way forward in terms of making sure that this church is shut down. And as you've heard from him, the guy I spoke to earlier on who said he engaged with the church, he is saying that they are waiting on police and the law enforcement officers to give them a report of whether the premises at which this church operates in is supposed to be operational, and in fact whether it is actually set to operate as a business or not. Now, the doors of this church have been shut to prevent these supporters from going in. They are still, adamant that they will be here to make sure that the church does not continue operating inside the church. Now I'm going to ask my colleague, if he can, to also show you that on the other side, the church doors have been shut. They are closed, but we've seen some of the church members trying to get in, because obviously this is a Sunday, this is their normal standard procedure where they come to church on a Sunday. Church is expected to start at around 10, and we have seen some of those congregants already making their way inside the church. In fact, we saw them and we heard them praying inside the church premises there. They, on the other hand, are adamant and relentless in making sure that church continues as normal as a Sunday. But then on the other hand, you have these supporters who are out in their numbers saying they do not want this church to continue operating at, or maybe if I can just grab one of them and ask them, how are you feeling about what has been happening? You are out here supporting Zondi. What is your reaction?
Look, my personal feeling is that this church, as per the allegation, it has been used as a vehicle to rape girls and to traffic people. And on those bases, that is why we are here. It does not make sense to us as society that this vehicle is allowed to operate, whereas the alleged person and the co-accused are in prison. And quite frankly, it has been my wish that when we come here, we shut down this operation. But as I can see, we've been trying to engage the church members. As you can see, if your cameraman can pan towards my left, the congregants are preparing to exit the building. We are not sure if they will once again come and congregate here next Sunday. But we have vowed, we have committed ourselves into making sure that we are going to shut down this operation. And it should not be here only in Port Elizabeth, but nationally.
Are they leaving because church is done, or do they feel intimidated by a presence outside here?
At this present moment, we are not quite sure what is their purpose for leaving church. We don't know what time does church cut off. But we have received information that because of these engagements, they have decided to cut the service and evacuate the building. And if it is on those bases, we are quite happy that our efforts have yielded results.
Before I let you go, I just want to give you more of what is happening outside here. These are the members of the church just standing by, waiting to escort the members of this church who are inside right now. So these are the men from the team Omotoso's church standing by and just making sure that they safeguard and protect the doors of this church. Well, we'll have to leave it here for now. Back to you in the studio.
Okay, is there going to be anything?